Greeting, friends. We're digging holes. Wow. Okay. So please visit the Core Questions blog before you get into this, just to make sure you're digging this hole in the right spot, that you've chosen a good place for your tree. Assuming that you have, let's talk a little bit about this hole. It's a pre-dug hole. We ordered it online. So here we have a hole that we dug. Let's talk about why we dug it and what's going on with this hole. This is the shovel that I used to dig this hole. It is a D-handled shovel, which I find is much easier to manage when digging a hole. It's really got good leverage. I love this blade, enough to move the dirt. Also gives you good depth analysis to say this is about a foot from sort of top to blade to the point. We're looking at the hole, but the hole is also in reference to the tree. What we're trying to do is dig a hole that's about, say, twice as in diameter what the tree needs for its sort of diameter of existing roots. So what we've done here is we have a tree that's, say, about 8 inches in diameter. We've gone another 8 inches out. See, we have a tree here that's about 8 inches here, and it goes out. Part of the reason for digging a slightly larger hole, but not a ridiculous hole, is that this is the area that the baby roots of this tree grow into in the first year or two. We actually want this tree to grow its roots into all the surrounding ground, usually about an 8-foot radius, 8-foot diameter, and that's where it's going to basically live. These dwarf roots are going to live and feed. What we've done is we've removed the soil, and we've also not dug the hole too deep. You can see here that this hole is probably about 8 to 10 inches deep if I get right towards the middle. And that's partly because I don't need the hole to be any deeper than what the tree was naturally in the nursery. So where the roots extend near the bottom of the tree was in the nursery about 1/2 inch to 1 inch above that. If we bury the tree any deeper than that, whether it's with dirt or mulch, we risk the rot of this very key cambium in the rootstock. We've seen this mistake, I'm sure, many of us, in parks and in sort of industrial plantings where there's a geological formation called a mulch volcano that's been formed around the tree. That's actually the death of a tree. So we have our diameter, and we also have our depth. The depth of the hole, some folks basically think they have to dig a 3-foot deep hole. Really unnecessary. Check their core questions. There's some things about that to be aware of. One part of digging this hole is also that I've used a fork, a digging fork, to texture the sides. When I use my standard shovel and I make a cut, this smooth surface is very difficult for the tree's roots to grow through. We don't want the roots to circle, we want them to find access through this. So after digging the hole and removing the soil, I use the digging fork to basically texture the sides and break crumbs off. So I'm actually taking this, and you're going to see that there's a lot of crumbs in the bottom of the hole formed from me doing this little 3 minutes of, as I like to call it, leavening the hole. So now we've created a wonderful hole, and you've chosen your wonderful tree. The key here is you can see we've actually put the stake in before we planted the tree. The reason why I've done this is because in the past I've tried to put a stake in and wondered if I've been damaging roots while I've been pounding a stake into the ground. I don't want to clip any roots that are unnecessary. I also, because I can put this post in before I backfill, I can make sure that I'm not pounding a post through rocks that I've backfilled into the hole. Gives me a little more of a purchase. I can solve the problem before creating the problem. I've centered this, and that means I can plant my tree no matter what side I want to, just a few inches away, because I'll be later attaching this tree. I'm going to backfill this hole. When I backfill the hole, I'm going to be mindful of, again, the depth of the tree and the soil. So I'm going to backfill to that point with this soil here. I'm not going to screen any of the rocks out. I'm going to use what naturally came from the hole. That's what the tree is going to be growing in here, and that's what the tree is going to be growing in here. If I bring in excellent soil, the tree is going to lounge and be lazy and just circle this hole and not ever get out of the hole. So we're giving it back what came in, so it chooses to both circulate here but also move outwards. So that's the things to remember when planting the hole, planting the tree in the hole. Sorry.